as we are receiving selected index inside of the card widget, we can actually use it because we already know which card user is selected. Depending on this index, we can change the height factor of the cards. For that, I'm going to use one of the lifecycle hooks, which is didUpdate widget, and I'm going to use this to change the height factor. So whenever the state of this card widget changes, in that case didUpdate widget is gonna be called and we will change the height factor. We can use conditions to determine if that widget is the widget that user selected. And for that, I'm going to use this condition. We will say that if selected index is equal to the actual index of the widget, we are going to change the height factor. So whenever I click to the widget, I want to expand it. That's why this height factor is going to be, for example, 0.7. So let's try that. I'm going to restart the application and I will click to the second card. And as you see, it is expanded. Actually, we can decrease the height factor to something like that. And now if I click to the second element, as you see, we are getting this expanded card. So we can click to any of the cards which is collapse, and it's going to expand because we are saying that if the selected index is equal to the index of the card widget, just change the height factor to this one. But as we talked previously, we want to collapse all the card widgets when we click to the card. Basically, only the card that the user clicks should be expanded and rest of them should be collapsed. So that's why we have to use another condition right over here, and we will actually use the reverse of this condition, and we will say if the selected index is not equal to this, which means rest of the cards that's not selected by the user should be collapsed. And here we just need to say height factor is gonna be 0.15. Let's restart the application. I'm going to click to the first one. As you see, it is expanded. Let's click to the second one. So it is expanded, and the first one which was opened is closed. That's why we are using this height factor like that. Now we will get another problem. So for example, if I click to the third card, you will see that we cannot scroll to the bottom of the screen. That's because the last element height factor is also gonna be 0.52. That's why we cannot scroll to the end. In order to solve this issue, we will going to use another condition, and we will say that if the card is the last one, height factor of it always should be 1. So if I say if the widget index is equal to widget.length minus 1. As you remember, we are receiving the length of the cards right over here, so we can actually use it in our condition. And here I'm going to say height factor is equal to 1. And make sure that you are using this condition at the end of all these conditions. And in that case, it doesn't matter which card you are selecting, always the last card height factor is gonna be 1, which means it is going to use all the height of itself. Let's restart the application and let's click to the second element, and we can scroll to the bottom, and let's click to the third element. So it is working. And as well as this, if we click to the last element, again rest of the elements is gonna be collapsed again, and the height factor of the last element is always gonna stay as 1. In order to not encounter another problem with this last card, I'm going to use init state, and as an initial I will set the last element height factor as 1, and I'm going to guarantee that we are not going to get any issue related to the last card widget. So that's why here I'm going to use this condition inside of the init state, and that's going to guarantee that we are not going to get any issue about the last card. Now everything looks perfect and works as we expected, but now how we will go to the detail of the cards, because we need to let the user to go to the detail of the cards, right? We need to open another page where user can actually check the details of that card. That's why inside of the gesture detector we can actually navigate to the new route, new page about the detail of the cards. That's why after we add the index to the stream, here we can actually navigate to the new screen, and here I'm going to use the navigator to push, and I'm going to use the material page route, and as a builder I'm just going to use the scaffold, and inside of the scaffold I'm going to use app bar, and title is just going to be detail of the card. As a body of this card I'm just going to use the placeholder. We are not going to do anything specific to the detail of the cards, but we just need to make sure that we are navigating to a page whenever the card is clicked. And here actually we don't want to navigate to this new route without any condition, because if I click to the third card you will see that we are navigating to the card detail page, but actually I don't want that. Instead of navigating to the new route, actually we have to say if the user selects the card for the first time we just need to expand it, but if user clicks to that card for the next time, for the second time, in that case we can navigate to the detail of that card. How can we achieve it? Basically here we can use a boolean flag, and that's going to be is clicked equals to false. So as a default the value of is clicked is gonna be false, and here I'm just going to say if the card is clicked for the first time I'm just going to navigate to the detail page. If it is not clicked I'm not going to do that. And at the end of this card I'm just going to set this is clicked to true. Now if I restart the application and if I click to the first element for example, and if I click for the second time, as you see we are getting the expected behavior. If I click to the second element and if I click to it again, as you see we are navigating to the detail of that card. But we will get the issue here when we click to the third element and when we click to the second element again. As you can see, without expanding the card it is actually navigating to detail page. Again, let me explain what is the issue. If I click to the first element, is clicked is gonna be true for the first element. Now if I click to any of the card right over here, is clicked for the first card right now is true, and if I click to the collapsed first card it is going to navigate to the detail of that card because the is clicked is true and it is going to navigate. Let's try again. As you see it is navigating. What should we do? We have to set false for the is clicked whenever the height factor is changed to 0.15. Basically, if the card is collapsed, we have to make the isClicked to false. Now, if I try again, if I click to the second card, and if I click again, I'm going to go to the detail of the second card. If I click to fourth card and again click to the second card, as you see, we are not navigating without expanding this card, which is awesome. Now let's try another scenario. If I click to the last element, so we have to restart the application, and if I click to the last card, let's see what's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. But I want to navigate to the last card because it is already expanded. Because the last card is always gonna be expanded because we are setting the height factor to 1. And if the first time I want to click to the last card, it should open the detail page. What can we do about this? Inside of the init state, as you see, we are checking if the card is the last one, set the height factor to 1. As well as that, I'm just going to set the isClicked to true for the first time for the last card. Okay, and if I'm restarting the application, isClicked is gonna be true. That's why for the first time, if I'm clicking to the last card, it is going to navigate to the detail page. And if I click to another card, it is going to expand. And again, if I click to the last one, in that case, it is going to collapse the card first. And after that, if I click to it, it is going to open the card detail.